Well, hello there, Uber-Tuber Rubers and Tuberettes alike around the known cosmos. How about that? It's a short talk in the park, and we actually are in a park. Okay, we're going to switch. Here we are at Glorious Gomez Garden, the green spot in southern New Mexico. There's the park is, if it ain't empty, it's awfully darn close. I don't believe I see a single other person out here. It's kind of a little after 1 in the afternoon, and right down yonder, although you can't see it from here, there's a laundromat, and I'm doing my laundroids down there, but I don't bother sitting there watching them go round and round. Why bother? And rock that I found on the ground. Well, it's not really rock, it's a piece of concrete if you want to know. And that becomes my holderizer, stabilizer. Yay, how about that? By the way, time to fess up. I'm off the wagon. After 5.5 weeks, I folded like a cheap suit the other day and decided I'm going to go get some cigarettes. And I can tell that nicotine, what a bang. I mean, I could feel that up here. So at any rate, I'm going to try to, slow it back down to 0 again. But my idea of quitting cigarettes was sort of like this. If we can just say, well, it was 6 weeks ago, I bought my last pack. So that's how long that pack lasted. So that's a really slow average. And so I want to get it, just keep dropping it down and stuff like that. But anyway, I just want to kind of pass a few things on to you and stuff. I had some ideas for a vid, and I thought, well, let's go high tech and write it down, man. So I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things, and just because, I looked at my own last video and I thought, well, and then all of a sudden, it was, okay, that was a Wednesday morning, I believe, yeah. And I was on my way into work, and, I thought, well, I got time. And got to the job, the work site, the business place where the work trucks are parked. I tried to turn on my phone, it was just lit. I just got this weird blue light on one side of the screen, that was it. The screen was dead. So, I have an old phone that was my old one before, okay, never mind. Who cares about that? But the point is, I had an old one, and they took the little something card out of it and stuck it over here, and so I was able to use my old phone for a couple of days. But I couldn't log into Google yet because I had completely forgotten my password again. I'm terrible about that. Even when I write them down, I can't remember them. But never mind. So Google has an option where they'll send you essentially a 6-digit code in text form, and you repeat it. You send it back, and that it's like to let you in the back door. And so the last time I tried to do this, I kept screwing it up so many times that Google locked me out of my old Gmail account. This is about 1.5 years ago. Because I failed too many times. So I kept goofing up in the same way. They send a 998-265 whatever, and I kept trying to take that around and send it back as an email to Google, to the access port. No, it came as a text. You send it back as a text. How hard was that? Well, at any rate, last time it didn't work. So what we had to do was I had to get a new Gmail account. Well, since then I've started this video series, so I did want to get back into this account because I don't think I can make contributions to the ongoing, drama, the series that we're inventing as we go along the way. Anyway, that phone thing was just kind of crazy, chasing myself in circles, and so I went down that night to at the local store, the Cricket place, and I tried to do the renewal thing, or what do you call it, the insurance thing. And my gosh, that was so frustrating. I could barely believe it. It was like you're talking to a robot. It's like this thing. I just want to talk to a human. That's all. That was not an option until you answer questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But when you're given options 1, 2, 3 for each one of those, and none of them really appear to appeal to you as to what you're trying to get done. So I'm asking the young guy, right? And he's trying to deal with customers. Like, I haven't got time to deal with you, old man. So I keep dialing it over, and he keeps telling me, take it off the speaker. Nobody wants to hear that. Well, I always listen to my phone on speaker because I heard that if you stick a cell phone to your head, you're putting microwave energy in there, and you don't want that. So anyway, so the phone thing was a cartoon, right? Finally got the thing going today. And so I just wanted to mention something. I've been talking off and on with you some about how I think it's more important now, especially with all this weirdness that's going on, how everyone feels so, even though it's an interactive cyber net where supposedly you have access to everyone and every knowable fact in the universe, the net result is people inside their bubbles are feeling isolated and alone. So I thought, well, I've mentioned this several times, is that we need to be more in contact with the human beings that are in our neighborhood, the fellow air breathers, the carbon units that are hanging around next to you. Say hello, treat them well. Remember that they are made in the image of the mighty Maker himself, and he is jealous for his children, right? So, in other words, treat people well, okay? So, I've been trying to do more of that kind of stuff, but it kind of bounces off stuff. But anyway, I think that was part of what was making me feel so uneasy and really almost paranoid and stuff. Also, and I did fess up to this earlier, I tried some of that liquid reef stuff. They call it concentrate. Not for this gringo. Oh gosh, it just felt swarmed by like paranoia. I mean, I was like, everyone's out to get me. I'm afraid to do anything, kind of thing. And I thought, what is this? This is so weird. Because I've heard of people who have anxiety attacks, and I feel for them, but I've never really understood the phenomenon. Like, what are you talking about? Now I think I know. So stay away from that junk. Anyway, so I'm off the wagon. I'm smoking cigarettes, but I'm still on my blood pressure meds, and my numbers are kind of overall improving. And so anyway, we're cleared to do the surgery on the 15th of October. So maybe after that, I can get this eye figured out. So the two kind of match, and then they can set me up with some new glasses. I've noticed ordinary print. I think I mentioned this also, like on a book, a newspaper. On this right eye, I can't focus at it. I can't get I can't read it. But at about this distance, how far my finger is from you, at about 2.5 feet, my focus is pretty darn clear. It's good. So it's only on the up close stuff. So that's classic farsightedness. And anyway, that's a new one on me. But we all need other people, and so I got this new phone, and I had the guy at the Cricket store. He helped me get through the leaps and loops of Google to get recombobulated so that I can actually access my own account. What a thought. So I'm browsing around on the screen. I just wanted to see whether all my contacts came through or not, because I use my phone quite a bit during the day on the job. Couldn't find contacts, and so I just happened to be at the laundromat. I thought, well, just there's a young guy in here somewhere. That's the answer to cyber stuff. Just ask somebody young. So this guy's 24 and he works there, and it probably takes him like 8 minutes to figure this out. But there's a way to somehow get into the conflagration of the inner turmoil and make contacts. The little looks like a person like this, all right. It's just a red background with an outline silhouette thing in the middle, and I could not make that appear on the screen. Now, we could find contacts if you went directly to phone. There's contacts there, and they survived. But anyway, to get them to appear as an icon that you can just hit off the main screen. And I still don't know what he did. I have no idea, but so I'm thankful for the competence of other people. And I had a story I wanted to tell you about how it seems to be how things are just getting so strange. There's a store called the Shoe Department, and I bought me some new work boots in there probably 2 weeks ago. I never got around to tell you the story, but this is how they market their shoes. It's a huge floor, a display floor. I don't know how many shoes they're displaying out there, but it's a ton. It's thousands of pairs of shoes at least. So you go find the boot. I found a Caterpillar boot, and I thought, well, it's got a reinforced toe. It's kind of like a steel toe, and I don't need a high boot anymore. I'm not, getting in the muck like that. So what you do is you open up the box and size it and see if it actually fits you on the foot. Well, you've only got one shoe there. What? So you take that shoe up to the counter, and then the cash register guy just basically disappears for about 10 minutes. He's rooting around in the back somewhere, and they've got the other shoe. I thought, well, wait a minute, how are you going to file that? I mean, so you got 10,000 shoes back there. I hope they're labeled or something. But anyway, it just seemed, that's the way that modern progress appears to be going. And, it had to do with theft and anti-theft protection, for the store. And I just, when I look at stuff like that now, it just seems so futile and backwards and stuff. And my idea really of like high tech would be like, say, a Rolodex and an old rotary dial telephone and a notebook with a pen. There's my tech. And so I don't do well at all with this digital stuff. And so I'm kind of afraid in a way for the future, because I get the feeling that it's coming up pretty soon that if you can't access your data through a digital device or its equivalent, you can't live here anymore. You can't even ride the city bus. That's the way they're building it in China right now with their social credit scoring system, where if you start saying certain things about who at the top, the crooked SOBs who call themselves leaders, if you start dealing with facts there, well, guess what? It's this dark mark on your thing, and your number goes down. If your number goes down too low, you can't do anything. You can't buy a meal. You can't actually have. So it's a little bit like the mark of the beast. The idea in the Bible of a mark on either your right hand or your forehead. And have you ever noticed this? What is that? Every time I see a depiction of the mark of the beast being done on a video series, why are they always fiddling with the wrong hand? Why are they always showing it on the left hand? I don't know. But I figure the idea is this. Look, everybody, if they're a human being, has either a right hand or a forehead. So choose one. But the idea that this tech is out there, and people are accepting it as normal, and they're allowing themselves to be identified with this product and even have it placed in their body. Okay, that tells me that we're running pretty late in the eschatological scheme. Don't you realize, this is the first time in human history that it's possible that we have the tech. Well, we've had it actually for at least 20 years. They started tagging animals, pets, with these chips in them years ago. But now it's become normalized, and everything becomes normalized. And the Presbyterian answer, I think, is just wrong. I mean, somebody's got to have some fire in their belly here. Somebody's got to stand up and say, hell no, this is bullshit. I say no, it ain't going to happen. But the church just keeps being pushed back further and further, losing ground, losing members, losing interest, losing relevance. And, as a member of the church, I'd love to see the church grow. But when we're talking about church growth, it has to be a church that's dealing with what's actually happening in the universe. We are surrounded by enemies of the spiritual ilk. It is an overthrow, and the Western civilization we all grew up with is falling to pieces before our eyes. And that's for starters. From there, where's your good news? What is the counsel from on high? Well, there's pictures of it in the books of Judges. Now go back, start listening to Mark Driscoll more, because he's talking about the book of Judges and how that compares in a kind of a political sense to some of the same problems we have in our own era. So in other words, we can get thematic information out of the scriptures on teaching us how, when, and where to disobey those in power. We must obey those in power until and unless they command us to violate God's law. In that case, no. No and never. And this is the kind of courage the church needs. And we need to be preparing our children to build this up in them to prepare. This is going to be a huge challenge. It's going to be your courage is going to fail. You're going to collapse in fear. Now we have to begin teaching courage. Why? Because we can see we're getting close to the end of the age. The Lord is coming soon. This offer of grace, this offer of mercy is coming to a halt. One day, the door will close. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I think that's what the Lord Jesus is talking about when he says, bless those who curse you. To him who slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other. This sort of thing. I think this is what he's saying. I, as a believer, can see ahead that there is a judgment coming, a fury from on high, which no human being can or will tolerate, the blast of which is going to destroy everything we know as real. He's burning down reality. And he's furious. He's indignant. And the only cure for that, the only bomb shelter strong enough, is to have the shelter of the blood of the Lamb in his broken body and the confession on your lips that he is raised from the dead. He is Lord indeed, as in Mr. Lord God, the Almighty, that Lord. And so the last thing I wanted to talk about was, we're surrounded by spiritual junk. And some of it is really junk. Last night, a friend of mine, who used to be a pastor of a church, but he's still a good guy. He's a Christian man. But he wanted to go see this movie. And I said, well, okay, let's go look. I had no real interest in it at all. I had never seen the original, and I don't know how they differed. I don't know whether this thing was a remake of the original or not, but here's Mike's movie review. Crap. It was another Tim Burton fiasco, and it was called Beetlejuice. But I don't know if they said Beetlejuice 2 or Part Dos. I don't know. I thought it had the same title as the original movie, which I thought was weird. So I thought, well, maybe they're just doing a remake of their own movie. I don't know. But the point is that I hate it. to be blunt, if you can imagine the idea of demons from hell, being suddenly all cute and kind of absurd and a little on the cagey side and a frisky and fun chap to deal with, that's a demon? I don't think so. And so I just hated the premise of the thing. And of course they entirely ignored, as if it never mattered, that there is the God of the Bible who made those spirits, and that they too are under judgment, and they know it. So you're on the winning side. Be of good cheer. Go ahead and contact other people, interact with them, because that's a part of our strategy that's going to take us through this dark time that's coming. We will speak with our lips the name Jesus Christ, and we will call for help, and he hears us. And our confession is that he did hear us, and he is faithful and true and good, and his mercy endures forever, and all of the biblical beautiful stuff that you read in the Psalms. We're going to have that coming out of our mouths as my testimony, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for. Inside the new covenant, we're going to have a new center, a new locus. Everything's about him. We're fascinated. We're what's the right word? We're just focused on this one thing: Jesus Christ, the King, and our love for him. It will never end because he's provided life. Yeah. So at any rate, I just covered all my notes. The stinking movie, by the way, stay away from it. And the last thing was I just want to say thanks. Sometimes, the gift of other people, shall we say, I have substantially underestimated. To me, I didn't want to be around people. I don't like them. Yeah, I think there was a thing in Peanuts one time. Linus was saying, I love humanity. It's just people I can't stand. But I don't want to be a hypocrite. So, at any rate, we got to learn to mix it up and to count on each other more, because it's going to be the person-to-person connections in this digital alienated universe where you feel all alone. There are people right next to you. Tell them to turn off their damn device and talk to you eye to eye. That's the way we're going to go, okay? And we're going to be speaking truth right out of the Bible to each other in order to encourage and in order to build up the kingdom, because his kingdom will not end. Nobody's going to stop that bad boy. He has all power. Amen. Have a good day and rock on.